Hi everyone, Chad here from Opensource Geeks and welcome to the channel. As you guys probably saw in the video description that I'm rebuilding my Plex Spy, and perhaps you're wondering exactly what Plex is. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview exactly what Plex is. Okay, so I'm on their website over here. You guys can feel free to visit it, plex.tv, just to get an overview. So in a nutshell, if you have a collection of TV shows and movies and you want to stream it through your local network, either through your browser or through your smart TV, then you can definitely utilize Plex. Plex is free and open source and is really quite stable. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview on the setup that I'm going to use. So I purchased a Raspberry Pi as well as an SSD, and I ordered a mount, USB mount, in order to mount the SSD and connect it to my Raspberry Pi. So the Raspberry Pi runs Ubuntu 20 and it has Docker installed and Docker Compose. So we are going to utilize Docker and Docker Compose. So we are going to pull the Plex image from Docker Hub, from Linux servers profile. I really would recommend checking out Linux servers other images as well. They really build the images according to a very, very good standard. Okay, so without further ado, let's kick things off. It's just establish a shell connection to my Raspberry Pi. Okay. Okay, so once we have that installed, the first step would be to install Docker and Docker Compose. I already have that installed. I created a small quick script over here that you can utilize in order to install it. Docker and Docker Compose. It's really just it's really a straightforward script that you can utilize. I am going to create a Git repo that I'm going to share in the profile description, where you guys can check out all the scripts that I'm going to use in my videos, etc., etc. So, okay, let's get things going. Let's just check our Docker version, just to ensure one more time Docker is installed. Docker is installed. So we're going to check Docker Compose version. Okay, so Docker and Docker Compose is installed. Okay, so our next step would be to see if our Raspberry Pi actually detects our SSD. So we are going to use the fdisk command. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is the partition where my operating system runs on, Ubuntu. So over here is our SSD, and the partition that's been created is SDA2. So we are going to mount SDA2 to a folder. We are going to create a folder. Let's just navigate to the root directory. Just see our overview. So the next step would be to create a folder that you can use using the make directory command. So I already created the Plex folder over here. So we are going to mount SDA2 to our Plex folder over here. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we just mounted SDA2 to the Plex folder that we created. Let's just use the mount command again in order to ensure that SDA2 is actually mounted to Plex. Okay, it's going to grab that information. Okay, so as you guys can see, SDA2 has been successfully mounted to the Plex folder. Okay, so where our issue comes in, every time this computer reboots, it's not going to automatically mount SDA2 to the Plex folder. So we have to configure the fstab config file in order SDA2 to automatically mount every time our Plex Spy reboots. So we are going to look for the UUID of our SSD. So let's grab that information. We can use the ls command. devices disk. Okay, so as you guys can see, here's our ID of SDA2. So our next step is to open up the ifstab command. Okay, so we are going to create the following line here, right at the end. Okay, we are going to save this file now. As you guys can see, this is our SSD's ID. It's going to auto mount to Plex every time this Raspberry Pi reboots. Okay, let's just get that information. Just confirm that it has saved. Okay, so we are going to actually give this a test. We are going to reboot this Raspberry Pi now. Raspberry Pi rebooted. Okay, great stuff. So we are just going to confirm that SDA2 was successfully mounted when our Plex Pi started up. We're going to use the mount command again. Yep. Okay, great stuff. So my SSD automatically mounts now every time my Raspberry Pi reboots. Okay, the next step is going to be go to Linux servers Docker hub profile. I already have it open over here, and we are going to use the ARM64 image, which is the Raspberry Pi processor type. Okay, so we're going to utilize Docker Compose over here and just make a few changes to this YAML code. Okay, so now we are going to create a docker compose.yaml file. We are going to use YAML nano. Now we're going to create a docker compose YAML file. Without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. We are going to paste the YAML code over here. Okay, we are just going to take out that environment variable. Okay, so we have to get the user ID and the group ID for my current user. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that quickly. Okay, let's just save it. So you can do that with ID. Use the usable variable. So as you can see, my user ID is 1001 and my group ID is 1001. Okay, let's go back to our Docker Compose file. Okay, and just edit that information over here. The user ID and our group ID. Okay, so next we are going to specify the volume path. So the configuration path, I would suggest to create a folder on the operating system partition. There's a reason for that. There's some SQLite issues if you create the configuration on a mounted disk. So just clear that up. So this will create Docker path, Docker Plex library. So that is where our configuration is going to be stored. Okay, so the path for our TV shows and our movies, we are going to create that in our mounted folder, which is the Plex folder. And same over here for the movies. So all our movies and TV shows are going to be stored on the SSD. Okay, so let's just go over our information. Yeah, everything looks correct. I would just suggest change this to always restart clearing. Yeah. So now we are going to run the Docker compose up command, and we are going to run it in the background. Okay, so it's pulling the Plex image from Docker Hub now. Okay, so this is just going to take a few seconds. Okay, so we are done creating our Plex container. Okay, great. So now we are going to confirm that our Plex container is up and running using the docker ps command. Okay, as you guys can see, that my Plex container is up and running. And for our next step, we're going to navigate to the browser to the Plex BIOS IP address. I actually already have it saved over here. Okay. On startup, you are going to have to configure your Plex software. Okay, what I usually do over here, I just go to the section, what's this, in order to skip the connection to the online Plex version or something of a kind. So I just go to skip and accept limited functionality. Everything is going to work perfectly fine through your local network. I got it. And just exit there. And then you can give your Plex file name. I usually give it chat Plex server. Allow me to access my media outside my home. For me, that's not a very good idea, but that's entirely up to you. I untick this as I only want to access my Plex media through my local network at home. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and add the libraries. So films, going to name here movies. And now we are going to browse for that media folder. As you guys can recall, we created the movies folder in our Plex folder. So we are going to select movies, add library. Then we're going to add another one for TV shows. We can leave that as is and select the TV folder, add library. Okay. So next is going to scan those folders for media. In my case, there's no media as yet. So you guys can just go ahead and add your media to it, and Plex will scan it every time and just update your movies and TV shows. Okay, so yeah, going ahead, you guys can perhaps check Plex UI tutorial if you want how you want to edit this, etc., etc. For me, it's fine like this. I do not have any movies at the moment, so the moment once I add movies and TV shows, it's going to scan and show up in here. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. If this video was in any way helpful, please feel free to share it, and also don't forget to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.